That is what I'm talking about. What is going on, Arvanauts? It is really great to see all of you and hear from all of you. It's always great to hear all of you. Thank you for the resub, Mrs. Dunsel, so much. It's always great to hear everybody, but honestly, I am super excited about tonight's stream for a couple of reasons. One, because it features a new and entirely... That photo is awesome, Drew. I wonder who's responsible for it. We are very excited about featuring some music today. Two, I'm going to have Hillness has found one of them. I have got some new emotes, and I see a few of you have found them, but I'll do the official releases afterwards. I am very happy with these new emotes coming to us from TariTunes. The PC is fixed, her computer is fixed, and so we'll be doing some emote reveals later on today. But I am very proud to be able to have an album release party featuring my band, The Road, with our newest album, Exodus. This is our fourth album. The first one came out all the way back in 2007, and then we had another one in 2010. The first one was called Drift. Second one came out in 2010. That was nominated for the Prague Awards, and that was Monomyth. And then the third album came out in 2018, I believe it was, called 5 Years Later. And now in 2023, Exodus. So 4 albums in, 16 years. That's not bad, you know, like one album every 4 years of existence. We did technically exist before we put out our first album. So basically an album every 5 years. That's not too bad. You know, there's bands that do worse. But I'm super, super excited to be able to reveal the cover and the inside liner notes and all that stuff. And of course, reveal the songs to all of you. And I have two excellent, wonderful gentlemen to help me with that. Before I get there, though, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube at !ArvTube. Discord is !ArvCord. Twitter is !ArvTweets. Blue Sky is !ArvSky. Website for all of that is arvaneleron.com. Financially, !ArvShop is the merchandise area. !ArvTreon is the Patreon. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I want you to hopefully focus on the band, and specifically Arv Band should be able to bring you over to these things. I have to add one link there. That cdbaby.artist thing is there, but what I would like you to be able to see, and I have to add this. Thank you, Nonstop, so much. I have to add this, and that is the Rhodes Bandcamp. In fact, maybe one of my greatest mods of all time might be willing to add my Bandcamp page, because if you go right here, that is the Bandcamp page. This is where you can get physical copies of all of our albums. So CD Baby, that link that you see up there, is where you can get digital everything. Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Google Play, all of the musics all over the world, Tidal, etc. You can all get through there. But if you want physical copies, you can get them through Bandcamp. And tonight, we are actually going to be giving away a copy of 2 of the albums. We're going to give away 2. I'm going to basically give away a copy of each of the albums, and I'm going to give away an extra copy of Exodus. So I'm going to give away a copy of Drift, of Monomyth, 5 Years Later, and then I will give away 2 total copies of Exodus. And I hope that you will, those of you who don't win one, will buy one, and we'll let people know about it, because we're super proud about this. We worked very hard on it, and we are excited for it. So that is bandtheroad.bandcamp.com, and if you go over there, you'll be able to see our 4 albums that are right there. So publishing stuff very quickly. Normally I spend more time on this, but today it's about the music. So Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts. ! Library, my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library from Alligator Rally Entertainment. And Gray Shade for my Gray Shade Universe. TTRPG coming out soon. That is going to be going into play testing. You can pre-order that. You can pre-order the last book in the Grey Assassin trilogy, Heretic, which I'm working on right now. First 2 books, Gray Shade and Renegade, are both out. You can get those right now at that link, and you can also get the audiobook from One Trend Sparks as well at that link. Last but certainly not least, ! BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. ! Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help, and reach out to others when they need help as well. And ! Ukraine, Ukraine, to help the fine people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message that we will do that with others in this situation in the future. And with no further ado, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to turn on this. I'm going to wave to all of you. I am wearing my Road shirt. That's right. I've got my road shirt. I am ready to go. And I am now going to unmute myself, and then I'm going to unmute my bandmates here. And I'm going to bring you over to reveal the crew. And you can see I've gone with a minimalist look today. We have the album, and you will get to see all of the interior design of this. And I have the two musicians, the two other band members, Michael Bruce and Zach Clay. So I will start out with Mike. Mike, it is good to see you. Mike is the second longest member in the band after myself. Mike has been with us for a number of years. Mike was the guitarist as well, one of the guitarists on 5 Years Later, which came out 5 years ago, I think. I think it was 2018. So Mike is with us. And Mike, for those who don't remember, I know you were with us for that release too, but for those who don't remember, do you want to tell folks a little bit about yourself and any thoughts about this album we're about to listen to and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so actually I think in the last album release, I think I snuck onto your Twitch stream, and it took you probably 6 songs to realize who I was. But I kept making like these little technical comments about how it worked.
That's right. I was like, wait a minute.
Like Greg's like, oh, actually, this guy might have some background information. So yeah, I actually joined the road in 2013. Actually, so it's 2013. I remember
10 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
10 years ago, right?
Wow.
And so we produced 2 albums in 10 years. So the first one's called 5 Years Later because we were so shocked that it took us 5 years to produce a record, right? And then here we are 5 years later from that.
Yep.
Going forward, it's been a terrific journey. I mean, honestly, I had always played in cover bands before. Actually, the band that I played before that was like a meathead band, and we used to play at. I live outside Boston. We used to play at bars in Cambridge and stuff like that. One of the band members was a police officer actually, and his buddies used to drive by the bar and like turn the lights on and stuff like that. So it was fun, but the level of complexity and the level of musicianship was quite different, I think, than the road. And so being able to join the road and like really, first of all, be able to think about music in a very different way, but also be able to compose your own stuff and figure out how to do it and what works and what doesn't work and all those things was not something I had like actually actively set out to do. So I've been really thankful, Greg, that you guys decided to let me join. For this particular record, we started this, I think, in 2021. I have all
during the pandemic, yeah.
I believe it was 2021. It was in the middle of COVID. We were all trapped. It's virtual, right? We're in 3 different corners of the country here, and we've been able to, put the whole thing together, over the course of that time, and it's just been terrific. I mean, Zach, to have you join and sort of like, I had never thought about like, how do you do like film scoring and textures? Like textures were not a thing before, I had a chance to play with you, Zach. So it's been great to have a chance to work with you on this. And also I think just sort of the thoughtfulness that you brought around like, oh, how do you do this? And what would work here? And honestly, sometimes, it's like, oh, just throw down a marimba part on this. And then the part that I would get back was like very shockingly perceptive around things. So it's actually been a real joy over the course of the last year, a couple of years to do this. Yeah, as I said, I live up here in Boston and, play for this band and, hung out with these guys for a while. And hopefully it'll be less than 5 years next time. So
yes, I hope for that. And it's true. It's funny how much the pandemic really pushed everybody to, I hate to use the term innovate, but have to think differently about the way that we came together. And here we were separated by, states in the case of Mike and myself, although we're in neighboring states, and then separated by coasts in the case of Zach and Mike and myself. But I totally ditto what everything Mike said about Zach. Huge fan of Zach anyway, as I hope people on this channel realize. But beyond that, Zach's sensibility in this was really great. But I also want to just jump back to you for a sec, Mike, just to say that, as life is life, folks, and everyone here in the band has been through a whole bunch of stuff since the beginning of working even on this particular album. And so it is really good to be together with these really good friends and wonderful musicians. And, Mike, I can't believe it's been a decade, but I'm very, very glad that you agreed to join up with us. So it's been a really good collaboration all the way around. So good stuff. So Mike's going to be with us talking with you all during this album. And the other person who's going to be with us is that guy right over there you can see on your screen, and that of course is the amazing Zach Clay, who is known to people from the Our Vocalists and known to people from Expedition of the Mysterious Peaks, but also is a wonderful musician. And Zach, I guess same question to you before we start listening to stuff. So you tell us, like, what were you thinking about as you went through this? What has the process been like for you? And yeah, and thank you for joining. I agree with Mike, but how did it feel to be part of things with this band and this album and so on?
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, after my many years of teaching drum lines for, God, almost 10 years, teaching high school, middle school drumline, teaching percussion, sort of living vicariously through my students that would play all the time. My actual play of marimba or keyboard would was sort of relegated to a series of unfinished garage band projects. And so when you reached out and you were like, "Hey, wanna," it started with you just saying, "Hey, want to jam out sometime?" Um, and then that slowly evolved. Here we are 5 years later,
I had to carefully
into
lead you
making a
in. I'm
full
like, when I
album.
said jam
Yeah,
out, I
yeah.
meant
I meant make an 8 song album. Yeah, so we did. And no, it was great. Standing here and looking at it now as an assembly of pieces, I'm very proud of what we've done, and
yeah,
all of our contributions, from your lyricism and your singing to Mike, your guitar solos are my favorite thing. Aside from obviously the structure of all the half of the songs that you put together, um, and no, I'm very excited. It's all the songs are a little different. Honestly, the main feeling that I have, or the thing that I regard about it, is it was a lot of fun to put together, and I think it's interesting. The blend of musicianship between three people is a little bit the same, but also different than a lot of what we already do on this channel through
yeah,
like role play.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm just excited for people to see that side of us, a usual TTRPG channel, instead of getting a bit of a sonic sound coming through.
It's going to be great. I am excited for it. And yeah, we should say very quickly, I want to make one comment about the theme of the album, and then we'll start with the first song. First of all, again, we will be doing a giveaway. I'll be doing giveaways as we go through the album. I'll try to do one every couple of songs, so you'll be able to win one. But I also hope that folks will, if they like what they hear, will go over and buy it, and not only buy it, either buy the physical and or the digital. Both are great. Also, I really hope you will spread the word. Reviews are love. Reviews are life. Please let people know. Please thumbs it up. Please, like, do all the things, because it really makes a difference for independent bands to be able to get picked up elsewhere. And there will be some live performances from us from the road that I was just talking before the stream started about ways to do that. So we're looking forward to that. One thematic note about this, first of all, Drew is driving and he'll be on the road for another 25 minutes or so. When he gets back, he can talk more about this, but this album design it was done by disc makers, and it was designed originally by Drew, and Drew did 5 years later as well. So he did the photography and the concept of this. And I think, Mike and Zach can say what they think. I think just absolutely hit it out of the park in terms of the feel of this. When I first saw this cover, I wasn't sure, because I'm like, And then I saw the back orange cover, and Drew can talk about this, but the cover really is this idea. That is his daughter, first of all, at the very end of that card, or that he's taking a picture of. And the idea was that we'd been through a whole pile of stuff, and this is coming out into the light at the end, which is exactly the feel of this album for me. It started in the middle of the pandemic. Like I said, it has been quite a few years that we've been working on this. The last few years have been rough for all of us for different reasons. And this, in a way, I hope, is an album of hope in part. It's an album of people coming together despite those things. So I was very excited about that. I think it came out absolutely beautifully. Like, the interior of this is just gorgeous. And what I have playing on stream is a slideshow of the different images, but it doesn't in a way even do justice to like how freaking cool like the interior design of it is, and like the CD itself, and then the back. It looks really, really great. So Drew, I'm very grateful to. He did a wonderful job. And you should use him for all your photography needs, because he's awesome. So, all right, gentlemen, we're going to start with Down Down, which is the first track on the album. Comments from either of you about things like that strike you about this song, or things that people should know as they're listening?
I would say, just as an introduction to the album in general, maybe for people to look out for what instruments we're playing, in case that wasn't made clear. So
Oh, yes.
obviously, Greg sings and is playing trumpet for a few of the songs. And then myself, I did all of the marimba and keyboard instruments, and then there's occasional other instrumentation that we'll point out. And then Mike did all the guitars, basses. The drum tracks were both myself and Mike, depending on the song. But yeah, so anyway, I felt the need to point out, as given what the start of this song is, people who don't know what I play will be like, well, what is
That's right. I
what is
forgot
this
all about
instrument?
that. And they did
Yeah.
both of you did a great job with mixing. My job was a little bit of trumpet and a lot of vocals, and I wrote all the lyrics. And Zach also did some vocals as well. But like, I had the far easier job as opposed to the two of them like bouncing back and forth in terms of the incredible mix work. So all kudos to that side of the stream over there.
So I'll only add one thing. This was it's funny, we debated a long time about the order of the songs, and actually something when we were first talking about this, as Zach said, stuck in my mind, and so I'm glad that it stuck long enough in my mind that we were able to take action on it. And this is the first song that we wrote together. So we were on a call, and I had never met Zach before and never met Greg. We were kind of talking and stuff, and Zach had the marimba, and he started playing a couple things, and then I added a few other things. And so there's sort of two structural elements of this song. There is the sort of main part, which is this sort of C minor down to G section, and then there is the chorus section. And we wrote the main part first, and then we added the chorus section in later on, and then Greg added all the lyrics on. And so yeah, this is the first one that we did, and then we eventually expanded it, and Zach added the absolutely wonderful marimba introductions. And I love the fact that we start with that, and there's like a minute and a half of that before we really start kicking everybody in the nuts or whatever. And
Yeah,
so
and
I
Zach
hope you enjoy this song.
and you
Yeah.
deserve credit for that, Mike, for the not the kicking in the nuts part. You deserve credit for suggesting that and being like, let's start with this instead, because oh wait, actually, hold on a second. Did I do this wrong? I'm looking at the back, and I actually think I put this in the wrong order. I mean, the album's right. I'm saying that I think oh, you know what? Oh, I have the wrong picture. Okay, this is why. I'm like, why am I looking? Okay, so that back cover is out of date. All right, I no longer need to panic. For a minute, I'm like, why am I looking? So the picture that you see on stream, I got to go find the one that actually is the right one. So it is Down Down is the first song. So, but on the cover that you just saw on stream, it has Rain first, because originally we were going to do Rain first. So never mind that back cover picture. This, as you can see, is right. It has Down Down right there. So it is correct. But I had the old picture. Oh my God, my heart stopped for a second. I'm like, ah. Okay, no, everything's good. We're all fine here. How are you? Okay, so let us play a little bit of Down Down. And chat, please feel free to ask us questions as we're going through. Please make comments, do any of that stuff. We would love that. And Zach and Mike, you can hear this too, hopefully. Okay. yes, it was all at once all around. And I would make it rain, I would take it there down, oh down. And I would find it when I might run it and down, oh down. Whoops. Sorry. Let me say that again. Zach brings this wonderful synth sensibility and rhythm sensibility, but also we really wanted to start with the marimba because the marimba in a way flows so beautifully with some of the other stuff we've done. Like this band started in a particular form in the late 90s and became The Roads somewhere around 2003. So it's literally been around for 20 years. And in that time, we have had many, many musicians come through the band and each sort of leave their own kind of influence. It was really something to kind of get a sense of the texture. I was thinking about what Mike said before of what Zach added to it. So, Down Down was a song that I wasn't sure was going to work well until we got close to the end, and I'm like, no, this song definitely works. This is cool. So, so that was song number 1, Down Down. We're gonna do one more song, and then I'm gonna run a giveaway. But the second song in this is Rain. And do either of you gentlemen have some comment about Rain that you'd like to make while I'm getting this set up? Any thoughts about Rain?
Well, this is a Zach song, so I feel that for me to make any comments other than to talk about my tapping solo at the end of it would be totally, premature. So Zach, speak about this one, because I love the composition here. Again, it's very interesting to look at the way this is constructed, because I think there's songs like the last one, which are actually really a multi-collaborative part. And this one is much more of a Zach composition. And I love the Zach composition. So feel free to talk about your inspiration on this one. And then you can all just listen for my tapping solo at the end, and then we'll do
Yes.
Composition and then tapping. Yeah.
Please do listen for the solo at the end. It's my favorite part. So this song actually is less a Zach composition than it is a Greg composition, because actually Rain is one that I still remember. It's interesting that we've sort of, it starts to fall apart near the end, but we've sort of, at least at the start, put the album in the order that we made these songs, or that we started the songs. Because Down Down, I think, was the first one that we conceived.
Yes.
And then Rain was pretty near the start as well. This one, just to tell the quick story of how it was made, was when we were having one of the road meetings, Greg was like, I think you were saying you were up late at night and you had this melody stuck in your head.
Yeah.
multiple melodies actually, and you like sang out as you guys, as chat and the audience, as you guys listen to the start of this song, you'll hear that it starts with growing layers of various parts that stack on top of each other. And how this song was made was Greg somehow, that this was like a testament to his musicianship. Greg was like, okay, there was a part that goes like this, and he sang the guitar part, and he's like, okay, then there was a marimba part that goes like this, and he's saying that, and then he's like, and there was a second marimba part that went like this.
Yeah.
And so he had this multi-layered
this blows Zach away. This is generally how he writes stuff
like,
in the road a lot for me when I do a song, and you're just like, wait, what? Like, it sounds, but the musicianship on the part of Zach to be able to be like, okay, I think that works out to this, like, you know, like,
yeah, exactly. So my job became taking all of that and, you know, putting it down and then figuring out the instruments, the mixing. So yeah, no, that's the only thing I'd say is this was Greg's literal idea, and then I just sort of put it down, and then the rest of it did evolve from there based on my composition and everything. But
and the tapping solo,
so,
and
the tapping solo,
let's be clear about
which
that.
I added to bolster its effect as well.
And actually, to Zach's credit, like, you actually wrote that on a scratch track using like a MIDI thing, and I remember listening to it, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to play that." But I didn't say that because I was offended by it. I didn't do it because I couldn't play it. So I had this weird little tapping pattern that I've always wanted to use, and I was like, "I'm going to use that one this time, the little 7-note pattern." So we'll see how that goes.
It was slick. All right, let's play some Rain, and then I'll give away an album. So Rain. Up you go and down it falls, cleanse the ground below. If and when the wild wolf calls, deep within you'll know. Strike the earth and dry your tears, redemption is in reach. Put away your childish fears, your walls you now must breach. Western wind, when wilt thou blow? The small rain down can rain. Stormy weather's much too slow for poets' rapid brains. The past, they say, has never left. It's with us even now. But memories left you bereft, no sense of self allow. When you've got the feeling of the dampness on your skin, it's not too much to imagine that you got all you need to win. You've got your orders, your rules and borders, your lines you cannot cross. But when the rain hits, and when the mood fits, your normal ways you'll toss. hope you all were ready for the tapping part, because as we said, like that was,
so good.
Crit Twitch saying the thing about was not ready for that transition. I'm like, that's right. No one is ready for the transition. the first part where we're just singing along and everyone's like, everyone's like, what? Oh man, a lot of fun. And so that is the second one. So now what I need to remember is, because it's been a little while since I've run a giveaway on my channel. I think it goes giveaway S dash A. Let's see if I can do this one. No, that's not it. Giveaway dash A dash S album. Oh, crap. All right. As soon as I remember, or one of my mods remember how to actually run a giveaway, I will do one. But we're going to run a giveaway for this album. If you like this, I will send you a physical copy, assuming that you are not in Upper Guam or something, and then we'll have to talk about that. It's okay, Prince Justin. Hillness might remember, and if not, maybe Drew will, or maybe one of the other mods here, and we'll figure it out. But yes, so we're going to do a giveaway for that while we go on to the third song, which is Waiting. Oh, Trifid's offline. Okay. Well, we'll find something. I just need to remember. It's like, it might be giveaway admin -s -a album. No, is it giveaway admin -a -s album? Is it giveaway -start?
Oh,
that's it.
Something popped off.
Test. Okay, so the giveaway. Okay, so now we end that. Giveaway admin -s test -a. That was new, was that? Okay, awesome. Hillness, you were the best. Okay, so let me follow what you just did. All right, so let me put this in here. Giveaway admin -s album -a. Thank you, Hillness. All right, there we go. So if you want a copy of this album that you're listening to right now, chat, type in the word album. Please type in the word album if you are interested. No slash, though. Please type, there you go. Type in the word album and you will be added to the mix. So please type in the word album if you are interested in winning this. And while this is going on, we are going to go on to the third song, which is Waiting. Do either of you folks want to chat a little bit about Waiting here?
Yeah, so actually waiting predates the three of us, because we actually started writing that song back in 2018.
Yep.
Not long after we released the last record. So the basic concept, which was it's funny, right? Because there is a lot of similarities between the 2-chord progression here and a really old Rush song, which I didn't realize until after we had written it. But I think it's different enough. And you know what? I don't really care. Like everything's, everything is, it's a reference. Let's put it that way. It's a sample. We're sampling.
Plus they're Canadian. Like they won't extradite us.
Exactly. What are they going to do? Like, come across the border and chase us down? No, I don't think so. So anyway, the 2-chord set came up. And then I think, Greg, you wrote the lyrics. And then the chorus was actually the most complicated part of this because, there's a time signature shift there, right? It goes from a 4/4 to a 6/8 time signature. And, we debated for a very long time of whether to sort of, transition that softly in there or just commit to it and go for it. And we ultimately decided to commit to it and go for it. But then actually after we ran it a couple of times, we decided that there were really 2 different versions of this. And so, and this, I think, Zach, this is great when you came out because you sort of listened to the way we had it, first of all, and it was kind of like quiet. And then there was like a large drum part in the middle of it. And then it went quiet again. And you're just like, I don't know. Like if you're going to go loud, you got to go loud and stay loud. And what you'll hear now is that that's basically, how we've ended up structuring the song. I think the bells, that you added on were absolutely terrific. When I was playing this for my kids and forcing them to listen to it, while I was driving today, and we got to the bell section in the middle of the first chorus, they referred to it as tough. These are teenagers. It's tough. That's tough.
Tough.
Yeah. Really tough.
Exactly. The bells. I've never heard bells described as tough.
Yeah. Those bells are tough.
Those bells are tough.
But this is, I mean, for me personally, this is actually one of my favorite songs on the record.
Oh man. Okay. I'm excited for any thing you want to add to that, Zach?
I'll add after we've played it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's funny. I've got to listen again to get the tough bells. I hadn't thought about this. All right, so again, if you want to copy this album as we're listening to it, please type in album to enter the giveaway, and let's do it. Also very Diablo-ish, I think, this part, chat. In darkness, the heartless, the broken, unwoken, our passions, our fashions, our time lost, our great cost, when always the chime plays, when our words they've all heard, they're waiting, light fading, all time gone, they sleep on. Here I'm spinning on my own, while emotions all have flown, in the spaces of my life, all the places twist the knife, take them all and make them free, bring them all and give to me, all your sadness, all your shame, all your madness in my name. The space will our place fill, in time we won't mind, we can learn now our way down the path there, we'll speak fair, our last goal, this great toll, and all still our cup fills, they're waiting, light fading, all time gone, they sleep on. Here I'm spinning on my own, while emotions all have flown, in the spaces of my life, all the places twist and lie, take them all and make them free, and bring them all and give to me, all your sadness, all your shame, all your madness in my name. Here I'm spinning on my own, while emotions all have flown, in the spaces of my life, all the places twist and lie, take them all and make them free, and bring them all and give to me, all your sadness, all your shame, all your madness in my name. Man, I don't know how it's possible that the solo actually gets better every time I hear it, but Jesus, Mike, you came to play on that one. That solo was nuts. Michael Bruce, everybody on guitar.
Oh my god!
I mean, no full credit to Zach on the tough bells, but oh my god, that solo, dude. No,
actually,
joke.
what's funny about that is for this is true on 5 years later as well. My favorite solos were actually the ones we did in 1 or 2 takes. I think I did that in 2 takes. A little technical thing for everybody that knows. We don't record these using amps or microphones or anything like that. It's all done through an emulator box. And so I use an old Avid 11 rack. 11 rack support is going to disappear next year. So after next year, I will not be able to upgrade it. So I have a computer that's from 2014 that I never upgrade. And I pray to God that the thing doesn't crash on me. But that is that was the thing that's used to record that. It's actually used to record all of the guitar and all the bass parts for this. It's just a single orange box sitting down there to my right here.
That's very cool. Yeah, and that's true. Like a lot of this stuff that we were talking about the fact that like loop pedals and like all that stuff are something that you replicating it live is something that we're gonna be playing live in a few months, and that's one thing we're gonna be figuring out is how do you do this, and we have ways that we're figuring it out, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like you could just layer it and add these things. Then it's like, how do you do that when there's only 3 of you and you do it live? Like, well, that's a problem for future us. Current us is fine. So Zach, you said you had something you wanted to say before you do. Remember, I'm going to close this first giveaway as soon as we're done chatting about this song, chat. So if you want this song and you want to hear that awesome solo again, please type in the word album, ALBUM, to be entered in the giveaway to win a copy of this song. And Echo, I'm actually not even joking about that. If you like, if you ended up finding out and you're like, you should come play at this culture center in Norway, I bet that with time, like Mike, Zach, and I could be convinced to do something like that. I was in Norway for a conference 20 some odd years ago, and it was an incredible country and beautiful and all that. That would be pretty badass to have an actual international tour involving Norway and a couple of other things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sign me up for that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so go ahead and finish with the album, everybody, and then we'll close the giveaway. And Zach, what did you want to say about the song?
Oh yeah, God, the solos. Goodness gracious. What I'll say before we move on is just I love in Mike's solos when he achieves a motif. That's really cool. Like there's a section in the middle of the first part of the solo where he's just going just like it goes and it goes, and then holding out the long note at the end. It's just perfect. And then there's my tough bells. But yeah.
yeah. And that
But
guitar
no,
that in the
yeah.
middle, that boom,
Whole new texture, whole new world. It's we need no Aladdin here to show us. All we need is Michael Bruce.
It's good stuff. So, all right, I'm going to last chance chat, and then I'm going to close this giveaway down. We're going to do a couple of others, but we're going to close this first giveaway down. Then we're going to go on to One of Us, which will put us about halfway through the album. So everyone do your thing. Type in album if you want a copy of this amazing thing. Again, such good work from Drew. Like I'm serious. It's such a beautiful physical product to open. Like it just looks beautiful. Like, and I don't know, it really delivers this theme of hope, because 5 years later, if you've listened to that album, it's a little dark, that album. It's a little hard edged. It's a little dark. And Exodus has moments of that, but there is hope. That's sort of a theme I was thinking about in the lyric writing of this. And so, yeah, really kind of communicated about that. So anyway, okay. So going once on album, going twice, and Chrono Travis is the winner of Exodus. Awesome. So Chrono Travis, congratulations. Send me, please, Chrono, either send this to me in Discord, or you can send me a Twitch private message. Just let me know what your address is. I will sign it. And then when you get the opportunity, if you get the opportunity to see us live, you can get Mike and Zach to sign it as well. But I will start by signing it because I have shrink wrapped copies of these from disc makers. Also, we should send a shout out to disc makers, which did the mastering for this, and I think actually did a really good, credible job of the mastering of this stuff too. So
Yes.
So,
and if someone does manage to get the album signed by all 3 of us, then you have truly assembled all 3 Infinity Stones. And you
that's
can,
right. And you just
No
snap, and
success.
it just happens.
Yeah, no snapping though, right? Exactly.
Okay, so fourth song is, which is just about the halfway point of the album, is One of Us. Either of you want to talk a little bit about this song?
This is the weirdest song on the record.
It
I'll
is,
just start by
yeah.
saying that.
Moon
Yeah.
Alliance is weird too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Weird is subjective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They have their own merits on this one. This was one I'm trying to think right. The main sort of vamp concept. So this is mine. I mean, the vamp concept is mine. And I think I came up with this while, you remember like during COVID when you had to like walk around with your kids because they weren't allowed to go to like playgrounds for
Yep.
some unknown reason. But anyway, I remember walking around with them and I would sit there while they were out in front and I would try to come up with like ideas for music because there's not much else to do during there. For other folks that don't know me, my wife is actually an ICU physician. So for a lot of COVID, I would spend huge amounts of time while she was in the ICU for 14, 15, 16 hours a day, working with patients and sort of watching, what was going on there. And so, for me, the one deal that I made with her was, all right, I'll take care of everything, right? I'll cook for the kids, I'll shop, I'll do all this other crap. And but when you get back, like for the weeks that you're not actually working, like I need like an hour or two of my own time to just come up with music because it's about the only thing that I could do back then. And so the concept here was something that I'd written down from back in 2020 and then pulled it forward. The one thing I really like about this actually is the latter part of the song, which has all the crazy horn parts. And what I will admit to here was that Greg actually played horn parts over each one of these little interludes. And I decided I didn't like any one of the things that Greg did, but I like them all. And so I put them all together on top of each other. And it was actually a harder exercise than I thought it was going to be to actually make it sound like something cogent. But in the end, like, I think it really ends up working out nicely, particularly the last one, which I think actually leads on to the thing. So it's a random song. It's a really different song. There's no logical chorus to this one. I actually love the lyrics because there's like kind of can take you in 20 different directions. And this is also the one I will tell you that when I played it for friends of mine and other folks, they like the rhythm of this one best out of all the ones that I have.
I can
like
see that. Yep.
Yeah, it's consistent.
I will add to that one of the things that's important about being a progressive rock band, which we are, despite, there's electronic and synth elements, there's pop elements, but there's a progressive core to it. And part of it is you just have to lean into it. I remember our one of the guitarists in the band who was the co-founder with me, Aaron Moulin, he and Mike would sort of joke about this thing about like, well, you play these things and I'm like, I don't think these things fit together. And they're like, no, Greg, it's math. If you just wait, it will just lean into it. It'll come back together. And I'm just like, that sounds really disturbingly not right. And they're like, no, it works. So you do have to lean into it and then it works. And like, so yeah, one of us is very much in that mode. Also shout out to the Zitar in the middle there from Zach's work. Zach, any thoughts about this pre-play?
Yeah, I don't remember where the idea to add Zitar or zither in came from. Or I was just messing around with tracks and I guess just added it in and you guys were like, that's so cool. Let's keep it in.
Yeah.
Because I will have the audience know I wish I could actually play that instrument that you'll hear. But as with everything that's on this album, this was all synthesized. So all through synths and keyboard, essentially. Through the power of keyboard, I can play anything, even guitar. There are some guitar parts that you'll hear that are actually me on the keyboard.
Man,
along with Mike. But
you broke that down.
Yeah.
I was going to tell them that you've traveled to India directly to play it, like, you climbed a mountain to play it.
That's when we go on our tour. It's Norway and then India.
Norway and India are 2 stops on the tour.
Yeah. Very specific.
Oh,
but
God, that's funny.
no, that's about it.
Awesome. All right, let's kick it with One of Us. I don't know why the time is the way that it goes all the way, that it goes all the way in my mind. Every part of this place in this space, yes, this place in this space, yes, this place in this space is all bare. Though I found all around, yes, I found all around that I really don't played you this song. All the time that it took, and it took, yes it took, all it took, yes it took, all too much and too long. In the time you've been brought, yes you brought, yes you brought, yes you brought all along, yes you brought to this space. One of us, yes it's true, one of us, yes it's true, one of us, yes it's true, one of us in this place. See, we didn't have a song in Latin this time, chat. So to stay as a progressive rock band, we need to have one song where people are like, "What the hell is that?" Like, so that the trumpet additions there is where that happens. But yeah, that's a fun song, and it did come out well. Also, what Critchwich said, also hi Stalio, what Critchwich said is 100% right. If you can listen to this on headphones, it struck me like how much, I mean, like, I think it sounds good on speaker. I've listened to it a bunch on speaker, but like, it really does sound pretty awesome on headphone if you get the chance to get that stereo effect in here. So you should definitely check that out. Okay, one more song, then we'll run a second giveaway. This next song, before I hear from the guys about what they think about it, this song, Symmetry, is actually my favorite song on the album. I think this came out beautifully, and okay, I think I'm very proud of this album as a whole. I'm very proud of all of the songs on it. I really like how they all came out. This is a song to me that I'm just saying, I'm, not being egotistical about it. I feel like this is the award-winning song on the album just because I love the way that it came out. It was beautifully mixed. Mike and Zach did a wonderful job combining these elements together. This is where you're going to get harmony vocals, actually also melody vocals too, from Zach. I think lyrically it fit. I love the way that this song came together, and there's a reason that we put it as the second of four sets. So you got set of four, and this is the beginning of the second set of four. And so I really like this song a lot. Of all the songs, it's my favorite, although I like all of them, obviously. So Mike, Zach, any thoughts about this song before we start playing this one?
Yeah, so Symmetry is the composition of it, and the arrangement, the melody and all that stuff came from me. And I said in my dedication at the back of the album that I'm dedicating the album. I mean, obviously all the work that we put into it and everyone that supported along the way, but I in particular dedicated it to my mom, who passed away a couple of years ago. And I remember, what few songs we had enough together or almost finished that she could listen to. This one was her favorite, to the point where like she wanted to have my other family members listen to. She was like, "Hey, Zach's in a band, come listen to this. It's so good." Because I was singing on it too. I don't really sing. This is kind of when I heard Greg singing, and then we were getting to the end of the song, I was like, you know what, I'll just mess around and I'll try to sing to it. Now, wow, this actually sounds really good. Mm-hmm. It's almost like multiple people singing in a band is a thing. So I added that, and then also it didn't occur to me until recently. And something that Mike said reminded me of how songs have similar melodies and similar chord structures and things like that. The chord structure of this, because when we were developing the album, there were some songs that I came to the other guys with, and I was like, "Hey, I have this song idea already in mind. Can you guys want to contribute to it? Do we want to make this one of the songs of the album?" And so Symmetry in its idea form, in its literal bass form, which starts with this marimba melody, is actually, I'll say, a reference very, very similar to the theme of a TV series called Belgravia. It's not like identical in any way, but it's close. You'll hear some similarities if you ever listen to the theme of Belgravia. Belgravia is not an off series, but it's another series by the same author of Downton Abbey. And that my mom loved those shows, loved Downton Abbey, loved Bridgerton, all those like period drama shows. And Belgravia was like the last series that she and I watched together, out of anything, pretty much. And so I think part of that too of this song, I think after we finished that series, I was jamming in and I had listened to that melody and I was like, that's cool. What would something like that sound like on marimba? And then I just took it my own complete direction. So yeah, it all, for me, it has a connection to my mom, but in addition to that, also one of my favorite songs on the album too. I think all of them I have special parts and special things in, but yeah, singing on this one, Mike's guitar in the middle and contributions to guitar throughout are great. But yeah, so that's all I have to say. I'm excited.
Mike, thoughts?
Nothing to add on that. I mean, this is really, Zach, I think the personal connection of this song is really what's so amazing to me. So yeah, we should listen to it and just hear it. It's amazing.
Okay. Amen. Let's do that. So this is Symmetry. All we have with this, all the time that we shared within all of this light that shone upon me till it was gone, all of when I was found and then lost beyond, in the space between you and I had seen what was true and real and what it all would mean. It's that gap that's lost, the price paid, the cost, and the choices we've made between both of us. All we want to find, just some peace of mind, just a space to consider our own good time. I could take us there, we could be aware of our existence that floats within the air. I could take us there, we could be aware of our existence that floats within the air. All
we wanna find, just some peace of mind, just a space to consider our own good time. It's that gap that's lost, the price, pay the cost, and the choices we made between both of us. In the space between, you and I had seen what was true and real and what it all would mean. Light that shone upon me till it was gone, all of when I was found and then lost beyond. In the flow of this, all we have with this, all the time that we shared within all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I love that song. I really, really am happy with how well that came out. That second part where Zach comes in and there's that moment where everything just cuts out for the moment. Lost in all of this time. Like, it's just this, God, I really, really love that flow. Yeah, and Mike's right. You know, the personal connection with Zach's mom, I think, is big here. And it feels that way in the way the song is delivered. And that solo, again, like Mike just like, you know,
Oh yeah.
continuing to put up like, you know, give me an award now.
Layup after
give me an
layup.
award now. You know, like just absolute
Oh,
kick-ass
man.
really,
Yeah.
really nice. Like so very pleased with how that song came out. And I actually just heard that we may be able to get Drew on to talk about the album artwork. So I think I'm going to bring,
Great.
assuming Mike and Zach are cool with that. So I'm going to bring Drew on to talk about the artwork a little bit. Just give a star on the Walk of Fame. Yeah, amen. So while I'm doing that, we're going to run another giveaway in just a second. But we are here celebrating the album release of this album, Exodus, which is our fourth album, The Road. I am joined by Michael Bruce, guitarist and bass player and mixer extraordinaire and songwriter, of course. Zach, songwriter and marimba player and synthesizer and vocalist and extraordinaire. And myself, I am Greg Wilson, better known as Arvan Eleron on this channel. And thank you, Rob. Here's to music and Zach's excellent glasses. I appreciate that, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, man.
Nice to see you, man.
So this is the fourth. Oh, thanks, Echo. I'm glad that you like it. Well, we're proud of this album. We're very proud of this album too. So, let me send the link to Drew, and then I'm going to start the giveaway, and then we'll move into the final three songs of the album, which are Moon Alliance, In Charge, and then Exodus. So I'm going to send Drew the link, and if Mike or Zach have anything to say about the album so far, or things that they're like, hey, check this out, you can do that now if you wish.
Yeah, it didn't really come into perspective for me until the album was done and listening to them all in succession. But I will again say all of the solos that Mike has added to each of these are just like on fire.
Chef's kiss.
And
Yep.
I love, there's a line in this one that brings me back to my younger years playing Halo and some of the guitar solos that are in that. So yeah, no, it's great. And I think with Symmetry too, the other thing I'll say about Symmetry, hey, look, there's Drew.
There's Drew. 1 second, I'll fix the windows. Keep going.
Hey, everybody.
The only other thing I'll say about Symmetry is, you know, as we were putting the finishing touches on the album, I think Symmetry and Moon Alliance, well, actually, no, all of them got a little bit of a last pass, you know, treatment of double checking what parts we wanted to keep and structure and everything. And so I think, you know, I might do at some point a stream on my channel or something where I kind of take people behind the scenes into the files that we use to construct the songs of the album and like the parts individually and things like that. Like Echo, if you've been asking for an instrumental version, I can't, you know, having that released and going through that process takes a long time, but at the very least I can play an instrumental version of some of the songs on the album for you. But yeah, some of the structure of Symmetry was changed like in the final weeks leading up when we submitted it. Like we listened to it together one last time and we were like, this section leading into the singing right at the end is a little too long. And then Mike and Greg were like, what if you just cut this part out? And I was like, okay. And I cut it out and they were like, bam, perfect.
Yeah.
And so there's like one little change. There's also a Celeste part that's added to the end of Symmetry, which was the last change I made to any of our songs. Like that was right down to the minute where I was like, wait a second. As I was getting ready to export, I was like, Celeste would sound great here, and I was right. So yeah. Anyway, Drew is in.
Very cool stuff.
And
I'm gonna move him up there in just a moment. Okay, there we go. Just about. So bear with us for just 1 second, and then while Drew is chatting about the art, then I'm going to run this giveaway, and then we'll continue with the last 3 songs. So just a moment.
Yeah, chat. What is everyone in chat? Your guys' thoughts of the album? Any favorite song so far, or favorite instrument, or favorite part?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
What do you guys think?
And we will. Okay, I think that's just about got Drew captured properly. Let's see. I know that 4th gent.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that I've ever been on your stream, Arv, where I've actually met every single person that I'm on with in person.
Oh, that's true. Because I was going to say, I'm like, no, you've been on my stream, but then you're like, to do this. I'm like, oh. Yes, indeed. I am music stupid. I'm not a good person to ask these questions. I'm about stupid. Well, while you're thinking about that, I will introduce, for those who don't know, this is Drew Zion, who's better known on Twitch as Drew the Damager, on the an up and coming streaming star, currently playing Death of the Outsider, if I'm not mistaken, of Dishonored 2. But Drew is also a very talented, obviously knows music backwards and forwards, but also is a very talented photographer, and did a whole live shoot with Mike, myself, and Aaron for 5 years later, and then did the cover and then the layout of the design and all this stuff. And like, I've been raving about this, Drew. I don't know if you heard it when you were driving home, like how freaking good this looks, like just absolutely. And I need to mail you one of these, by the way, but just like how absolutely gorgeous this looks. And like the underside of it just looks absolutely just badass. And these are, of course, all of Drew's photography. Also, that's Drew's kid. So there's a lot of Drew here. So yeah, while I'm setting up this giveaway and then we move into the last 3 songs, talk a little bit about, your process in this and thoughts about the album and designing the cover and all that kind of good stuff.
So for anybody that doesn't know, Greg contacted me about doing the album art for the last album. Like right around the time when it was supposed to be released. And he basically told me, we got this album coming out. We'd like you to do the album art for it. It's kind of a darker turn than what we've done in the past. And I immediately sent him a picture and said, well, I always thought this picture looked like it could be an album cover. And he was like, great, we'll use it.
Yep. because you were right, is why.
that was for 5 years later. Right. And then we worked some things out, some other things with that, but that's the old album. Right now for this album, he contacted me and said, we want you to do the album art again. And I was like, hey, that's really cool. Could you send me a couple of songs so I can get the feeling, like sonically, and try to match it up visually? And Greg sent me the entire album.
I mean,
like,
I'll do you one better.
How about?
Yeah, exactly.
Check and mate.
It's like, here's all the songs on the album. So I sat down and I listened through all of them, and I made notes of kind of what I envisioned as I was listening to the music. Like I didn't really like, usually when I listen to an album, I'll break it all apart. Because I used to be a guitarist. I used to play drums. I used to play a little bit of piano. So like when I listen to music, I like to break all the little pieces apart and listen to just the guitar and just the drums and, like stuff like that. With this one, I listened to everything. And honestly, Greg, I don't know if I picked up any of what you were actually saying in the lyrics, because I was listening to it sonically, just how it sounds.
Yeah.
And for each song, I wrote down like little notes here and there, like, what I envisioned this song and what I envision in this song, and just kind of keywords. And blue kept coming up, and I thought, I really think I want to make the like kind of the overarching color of the album like a blue, like a kind of a deep blue, because in a whole bunch of different songs, that's kind of what I saw in my head.
Yeah, which is cool.
Um,
And before you go on, just one quick thing. I just started a giveaway, chat. Please type in Rock the Prog if you would like to win a copy. I'm going to give this and one more at the end of our release party. So one more of these. If you're interested in winning a copy of Exodus, which is the album you're listening to right now, please type in Rock the Prog. And hey, Wispy, just one word though, Wispy. Rock the Prog, all one word. And sorry, Drew, on you go.
yeah, so I got a very blue feeling from the album, so I knew I wanted to do something like that. Greg had told me that the name of the album was Exodus, and the first thing I thought of was someone exiting, like someone leaving a like a basically a tough time in their life and on to better things. Now there's I believe a Revolutionary War um uh fort right near my house, and you can go inside of it, and that's actually where we were. I took my daughter over there. Yeah, that's inside the
Wow.
fort. Yeah, because I knew that there was areas where it's all like kind of like labyrinthian halls, but I know there's a couple different spots where it comes out, and like if you're in there and you're looking, you'll see the light. So I thought, Exodus, it's really dark with the juxtaposition to the light. I thought that, that kind of encapsulates it perfectly.
Yep. And
So I went over
when
there.
you explained that to me, by the way, and I was, because at first I wasn't sure, and then you explained it, and it was two things. First, you explained it, I'm like, oh, and then that as well, and I'm like, that is exactly the feel. Actually,
Yeah.
like I was just like, holy, like it was really, really impressed because I wasn't sure. I was like, well, I was thinking of something positive, and then when you mixed it with the thing on the back, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, because it is coming through darkness and dirt and coming out into something else. Like that was for many of us, the pandemic was like this. And anyway,
I was so excited when we got there because sometimes they clean it all out and it's nice, and sometimes they just let it go. And I was so happy that when we got there, it was full of like garbage and dirt and nastiness on the inside. So it's like, yes, this is perfect. I'm so glad they didn't clean it.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
but yeah, that's like I knew I wanted it to be blue, so I colored it blue. And then on the back cover, I kind of wanted to give the feeling like the maze that this person came out of itself was kind of pissed off that the person that it was trying to trap got out.
Mm.
So that's why I
How
changed
dare
it to
you.
the orange. Yeah.
That's really funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that, and I knew some of that, but I don't think I knew about the fact that it was a fort that I'm not sure I knew that part, but yeah, and it really came together very well. Again, also just the physical, like look of the CD even, came out beautifully, and it's partly the photography is really good to begin with. That's Drew's photography, but on top of it, yeah, so that's very cool stuff. And listen, maybe albums are sort of like not considered cool anymore because, we all do singles through Spotify, but I still think, my musical background in terms of like more popular, not classical music, is about sort of album designs. Like I would argue the best album I've probably ever heard is somewhere between Sgt. Pepper's and OK Computer by Radiohead, which I would argue is maybe the best put together album of all time. OK Computer. It's absolutely unbelievable. And so part of that is the way it looks. Part of that's the design. Look at like the iconic covers and the interior design for Dark Side of the Moon, right? From Pink Floyd or things like that. Like it really comes together of a piece. And I'm a big fan of bringing together artistic forms and having them play off each other. So I love the idea, Drew, of you listening to it, right? And hearing the music and then sort of playing into that. So it's very, very cool. Super, super cool.
There
So
was
don't forget
there
to
was
type in Rock the Prog chat if you are interested in winning a copy of this album Exodus. And we will go on to the sixth song in just a moment.
there was, and I don't know if Greg wants me to talk about this, but I'm going to anyway. There was another photo that I submitted for the album
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
that's fine.
there was a another blue colored photo, and it was like a close up on like the interior of an old television set, and it was all like transistors and stuff. Because one of the feelings that I got from the sonically was like transistors, and I think that has a lot to do with Mike's guitar playing.
Hmm.
There's a few points in the album where it almost like a chiptune vibe, but not really.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like
I
there's
could see
some
that.
weird effect on the guitar that sounds really, really cool. Um, so I sent that over to Greg, and he was like, "I'm not really sure if this super fits." He was like,
Yeah.
I think I want to go with something a little bit more serene. And I was like, all right, I can do serene. So I went and I grabbed the I think it's the photo of the sun setting in the ocean.
Yep. Yep. Which I have
I
up
think that
there.
was the one that I swapped out. Yeah.
You know, the like for the alternative cover, like for the alternative edition, right? Like the
Yeah.
10-year remaster or whatever. Like
Love
like
that.
that's where we can get the alternative thing. No, yeah,
Get that as an insert in the sleeve.
yeah, exactly. Everyone's like, this is the real cool one. Well, I was saying
Exodus
also,
Transistor Edition.
I was saying,
Yeah, right.
Drew, before, you may not have heard this, but I panicked because the drawing that I had of the back cover was when we had a different song order. And I'm like, oh, crap. Did we have a different song order? We didn't. Like, it's the same one on the CD as the back one. But I saw it. I'm just like, ah. It's like, no, it's fine. So it's like, enjoy the cover, the back cover. Never mind what the songs are. This is the actual order, and it shows it just like it's supposed to and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Do you actually have a copy of the back cover with the correct sound?
I don't know that I
with
do. I probably need to get that
I
from you at
don't
some point.
I don't think that you do, because I think that I just took the one that I had and I just erased the words off of it, and
Okay.
I just reordered them.
Reordered.
And then
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I ever sent that to you.
No,
Yeah.
that's all good. I'll grab it from you at some point. But it was kind of funny. Like, ah. So, all right. So, chat. We're gonna let this giveaway go through this next song. Drew, you're welcome to stick around with us for another song if you want.
Sure, why
and
not?
this song that we're doing next is called Moon Alliance. Now, as I set this up, I'll, as usual, ask the musicians your thoughts about Moon Alliance. This, to me, is the most, what the hell is going on with this song? And this song has one thing that I'll mention, which is that this came together when Zach and I were writing one night, music writing. And literally, if I look up through my skylight, I can see the moon as it passes over my house. And it was a full moon that day. Or that night, and I remember looking up, and I was just like, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, the moon. And so we literally were. I was like, I think I said alliance, but I definitely said moon something. And we just decided to go from there. And this was like from Zach's work that he's done with Arvcon, with doing his different things. Some of the soloing and stuff like that, and Zach's incredible like improv play reminded me a little bit of this. So this is another one of those ones like. There's a part towards the end where you'll just hear like randomly trumpets jump in and you're like, why? And we're like, because Prague, that's why, because FU Prague, Moon Alliance, suck it. You know, it was very funny to me. And again, you have to get into it to actually do it. So, Mike or Zach, any thoughts about this song?
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, this one, I don't remember how this one, I think this one originated from like Symmetry, this one originated from an idea, like a scratch song idea that I had, and I threw it at the guys, and then at some point Greg was like, Moon Alliance, and I was like, okay, cool. And so that kind of became the vibe, sort of this outlandish
Outlandish
silly,
is the word.
sort of song that a lot of guitar work from Mike on as well.
Yeah.
This is the only other song that I also sing with Greg in. And this is, along with Symmetry, this is kind of one of the two songs, I guess, that is like my baby on the album. And you can tell Symmetry is my soft and emotional and meaningful side, and this is everything
The tough
else.
side. The tough side previously only showed in bells.
Exactly.
Yes.
They only showed it in bells. Right.
Yeah.
I'll add one thing to this. So the guitar part on this is tricky, and actually, I just for full disclosure, it's doubled with the synthing version that Zach has in most places. It's probably actually doubled just with 2 synths in a few places where I couldn't quite do it. But what's interesting is just going to the prog thing, right? The tuning that I had to use on this was actually very similar to the Robert Fripp tuning. So I had to down tune to a low C, and then to a G, and then to a D, and that was the only thing that allowed me to actually play this that whole thing, to play that with any kind of reasonable rhythmic thing. And first I was embarrassed to have to retune it, and then I realized since I was going to the Robert Fripp direction, there's like nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So.
Seriously, I mean, you need to have more contempt for your audience anyway, Mike, to really get the Fripp feeling. So, just turn away haha, check out my music.
So you guys are definitely a progressive rock band because 1, you talked about having odd time signatures, and 2, you talked about having wacky tuning. So that's the 2 things that you need to have to be.
Well, that and have one album with a song that has a Latin title on it for no reason, and we've already got that covered. So now we just need to have complete. No, and also, yeah, there are definitely gentle bells, in this one. Moon Alliance is a lot of fun, and again, towards the end, I think literally there were moments where I was just like, you know what? No, we should do that, and just. Because there was one section I'm like, this is weird and it's not going to work unless we make this next part even weirder. And we were just like, all right. So Moon Alliance definitely, I like this song a lot because it's just like, let's lead into it. Let's go. So Moon Alliance, please type in Rock the Prog. And at the end of this, we'll close out the second giveaway. Let us do it.
Much too high on the ground. High when I found my center. Now all of us here on the ground. All of us trapped in ember now. All of us locked in phase of this Moon Alliance round. Much too high on the ground. High when I found my center. Now all of us here on the ground. All of us trapped in ember now. All of us locked in phase of this Moon Alliance round. Breathe and you'll see what I've seen, and you'll be where I have been, under threat. The Moon Alliance, be where I've been, Endurance, the Moon Alliance. Endurance, the Moon Alliance. Be where I've been. It's progress, the Moon Alliance. Out there, somewhere, go there, and you'll see where we have been. And you'll find your center there in the sky, there in the eye of all I saw, shone so bright. Saw in the night it blazed on. Who could have seen? Who could it mean this much to I on the ground? High when I found myself. All of us here on the ground. All of us trapped in amber now. All of us locked in phase in this Moon Alliance.
Oh man, the trumpets! I'm telling you, I love it. It's just the best. Oh man, and yeah, you got to hear Tough Zach. Also, that's the longest song on the album, by the way. And so yeah, there was a lot to it, and we just basically were like, let's just build that up a little more. You know, that was a lot of fun listening back to it. It's also got a bit of that, like, you know, I don't know, are these musicians good enough? And then you get to hear Zach and Mike's instrumentals, and you're just like, oh, geez, all right, they can play. All right, they're officially prog. They're capable of playing. So, yeah, Tough Zach demanded that Moon Alliance was the longest. I like that idea that that's Zach's alter ego.
Yeah, Tough Zach.
Tough Zach. That was really cool.
The glasses.
I will
yeah, go
say,
ahead, Drew.
just as an outsider looking in, that song, there's a few songs on the album that, I mean, all the songs on the album obviously are the three of you together, you know, really nicely. And I don't know if it's because Zach also sings on this song, but this song seems the most like all three of you had all the same input all at the same time. You know, it's kind of like when people talk about the Beastie Boys, like you can tell the albums where they sat down and wrote the songs together, and the song and the other albums where they, like, one would write one part and one would write another part, and then they put it together.
Yeah.
This sounds like a song that you guys like sat down all together at the same table. I know that didn't actually happen, but like, and say, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. Okay, now you do this. Okay, now I'm gonna, you know, so like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool to hear. And yeah, there was a kind of collective feeling about this. Stalio, Tough Zach makes Chuck Norris look slightly less tough. I like the idea that Tough Zach now is going to be meme worthy as being even less. All right, chat.
Change my username to Tough Zach.
Tough Zach. Last chance to get in, Rock the Prog, and then we're going to do the last two songs. I'll do one final giveaway after the last two songs, but we're going to be moving on next to the song In Charge. So last chance, chat, to get in this second one if you want a copy of this album, Exodus. And if you don't win one tonight, I hope you will still consider maybe buying one. You can get one at our Bandcamp page physically. You can also get one digitally. And if you go to www.thebandtheroad.com, that will get you links to everywhere. The album is available everywhere as of today, so you can get it on YouTube Music, you can get it on Apple Music, you can get it on Spotify, you can get it on Tidal, you can get it on any of these ones. And as I say, there are physical copies now available, which you can get via Bandcamp, and our previous three albums, by the way. So if you are interested in copies of Drift or Monomyth or 5 Years Later, those are also available there. So no, it's all good, Echo. That's pretty much fine. So here we go, chat. Last chance to do Rock the Prog. Stalio said Rock the Casbah before. Going once, going twice.
Also, Mike, that might be my favorite guitar riff on the entire album. That opening guitar riff. Oh my God, it's so good.
It's all Zach. Zach wrote that one, but
Oh, no kidding.
the trick with that one though, and this is why I had to go with the open tuning, is I wanted to have that sort of slap back effect, that bop, 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 that almost sounds like that, and I couldn't get it just playing with standard. I was also an octave higher than I wanted to be, but without using the open strings and without playing with the open strings, I couldn't get the right slap type of sound. So that sort of percussive, hitting sound that you hear there is because of the open tuning. But that's a Zach riff, and that was definitely one where I was like, this was obviously written by a keyboardist. Like, no guitarist would ever come up with this shit.
What is this crap? Congratulations to Echo Alpha X5 for winning the second copy of Exodus tonight. So congratulations. Thank you. And for following and being awesome all these years, Echo. And I will get that out to you. So I will send that out. Yeah, Drew. So we semi-jokingly, but maybe less semi-jokingly, possibly, Drew started talking about bringing us out to Norway at some point for our international European tour.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Wanted to know if we could use any of your artwork for promotion, and I imagined that you would not have a problem with that, but I said I would, So there you go. So yes,
man,
it's allowed.
You paid for those pictures. They're yours now.
Yep.
You can do what you want with them.
That's true. I'm going to promote them everywhere. So congratulations, Echo. Okay, last two songs, and we will begin with the seventh song on the album, which is "In Charge," and I'm curious what everyone thinks about this one. I have my own thoughts about "In Charge" and how it came out. I was very happy with it in the end. But anyone want to talk about "In Charge"? Mike, you want to start with you on this, actually?
I think, in some ways, I think we should play it because it's kind of like a big surprise in the middle of it.
Okay.
But, what I can say though is that Drew, you were talking about how like the last song, it sounded like we all worked together on this, and we did not do that for this song. This was like, in fact, this is actually originally conceptualized as two different songs, and you will see if you can figure out where the break point is.
It's very subtle.
And, it's very subtle, but see if you can figure it out. But it's funny, actually, the first set of chords, I started playing them, and then I recorded something, and I was like, this is like too 80s crap. I don't know if we could do. In fact, I think Greg even may have used those exact words. Like, what the hell is this 80s crap, right? But then
I said 80s crap.
Yes, but then this is very important. But then Stranger Things came out, and my daughter got way into Stranger Things. And I was like, this song could totally fit into Stranger Things. So then I was like, the hell with this is going on the record. So I think you should play it, and then we can come back at the end and we can talk about the middle part. Oh, sorry, but I will say, just like in the last one, Zach's synth playing is terrific. The synth playing is totally different here, but it's really amazing. And considering that these were two separate things with almost the same type of synth track over the top, to me, the synth is actually what allows for the continuity here. And I was really pleased with how this came out in the end.
Very cool. All right. Well, then we will play it, and then we'll get back and we'll hear from Zach and if Drew has thoughts about this as well. So this is "In Charge." Oh, nope, that's not it. That's Moon Alliance.
Yes.
It's the same. Okay, sorry.
Win.
Let's try that again. You think you know this song, chat, but you don't know. way. You've been sent to this destination here, not so clear, and I fear that it's all come down to you. Will you do what you must? Will you find a simple road, bear the load, or explode and be lost like all the rest? No, don't complain, not my problem. I can't explain why you're in charge. Now, don't ask how, and I don't know, and I'm surely not a guide. Open wide, look inside, and let go your foolish grip. And it's your ship, tillers yours, and your path is yours to blaze. All your days, sails are raised, and the water's open. No, don't complain, not my problem. I can't explain why you're in charge. Oh man, I love the reaction to chat. Everyone's like, "Whoa, what? Was not expecting that." It's like I'm glad you all caught it. It shows what refined tastes you all have. That you caught the transition. Not every we expect a certain level of refinement in our listening audience, and you all had it to be able to catch when that switch was made. So I think that was really important. Oh man, it cracked me up.
There were a couple of comments. I was reading the comments, a couple of comments on the drums. So drums. So this day and age, like nobody actually uses real drums. It's rare for real drums to be used. Even in normal studio context, they'll record things on a MIDI trigger system and then essentially use an oversampler. So there's like some guy that sits in a studio and hits drums at different velocities, and they can capture all these different things. Just so everybody knows, the system that I use Steven Slate drums. This is not a plug for that. It just so happens that I have tried that one, and I've tried Superior Drummer, and I always get good mixing results with Steven Slate. I never get good results with Superior Drummer, although people who are really good mixers will tell you that they like it because it's like doing natural drums. But yeah, so for a couple comments on the drums, that is how they are done. You program them on the computer, and I'm not a good enough drummer to actually play it and then have it work out. So I write the program in there and match it up, and then hit the little humanize tab so it sounds a little more natural. But actually, one other comment, just in case folks don't know this, because it's only something I found out recently, right? So snare drum replacement, right? This is something that's been going on for 30 years, right? So a band plays a song, and then at the end, they have the drummer hit a snare drum, and they pick the one that they like, and they go back through and they painstakingly put that snare drum hit on 2 and 4 all the way through the recording. So you get a totally consistent sound, across it. So the sort of synthetic nature of drums has been going on for a very long time, but most people just don't know that. But it's for those of us who don't have friends who are drummers, these things are lifesavers from a creative standpoint, because you can write something that really sounds great. And so I'm pleased with the way that this album has come out that way. So
yeah, and it should be said, we have traditionally for all the 3 previous albums we had. There was some 5 years later, there was some drum work that was done that Mike did in the same way, and then there were other actual live drums. And in general, I think we're generally in favor of having live musicians doing these things when we can. But in the middle of a pandemic with 3 players, none of whom were drummers, this is something that came out, and I think it worked well for this album. But of course, in live performance, as I say, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there will be some changes in how it's played live. We think so. You can be ready for those moments when that happens. But okay, final song in the album, chat, and then I will run one last giveaway. But yeah, go ahead, Drew. Sure.
Real quick. So before I was talking about how I made notes on like what I visually saw as I listened to each. So I dug out my notes for this one specifically, right? And it was in the beginning, it was wood, travel, road, open spaces, and then red orange, burnt film, hollow cylinders.
Tough sack.
Hollow cylinders.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just funny, like even in my notes, you can see where it.
Yeah, because the thing is too, like when I was writing the lyrics to In Charge, like I had this image of being like, I don't know why the hell, the song is written about like why the hell is so and so thinking they get to decide what to do, and so there's a little bit of a sarcastic edge to it. So when it's put with this other one, it literally is like Kool-Aid Man. You're doing this, dun, 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 dun. Hey, it is me, I am here. Like, it's just really cracked me up. Oh man. And one thing prog rock bands do not have enough of is a sense of humor. That is 100% true. Prog rock bands do not like to admit that there is such a thing as something being funny. We like to think that we have some occasional sense of humor in this band. So,
that is very true.
It's just, oh man. Okay. So final song of this album, chat. And by the way, chat, thank you. We've had a good turnout and really good comments back and forth. This has been a lot of fun. Last song of the album, Exodus, is the title track. It is in fact Exodus. And before I hear from Mike and Zach, and if Drew wants to talk about what the notes for this, I will say that this almost immediately, when we were sort of putting together, and we thought we might have 7 tracks, 9 tracks. We sort of played around without many, and then we settled on 8. And Exodus, when we came up with it, almost immediately felt to me like it ought to be thematically and otherwise the sort of the theme, the title of the album, because I felt it sort of fit a lot for us. Exodus, again, is not just a journey, and not necessarily an exit even, but a moving on. And it's a moving on that I think can have very powerful resonances depending on a variety of things, belief structures and otherwise that I won't get into. But I really appreciated the fact that this felt transitional. Speaking just for myself, I turned 50 during the making of this album, and there were just a lot of things that felt very sort of milestone driven to me. So that was important. And this was the song that when I was first pitching it to Mike and Zach, I was like, I'm thinking really epic, this, ship at sea, epicness, and epic world. And at one point, they were very patient with me. And at one point towards the end of the song, I was like, yeah, this one part might be, and I forget if it was Mike or Zach that said like, so Greg, this song actually gets really epic. Do you realize that? And I'm like, well, they're like, you should turn the volume up a little and you should listen for another minute or two. and it is a part where it's just like layer. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fairly epic, like that. It's like the part of Blues Brothers where Ray Charles is playing the thing and he gets done with the song and they're like, all right, Ray, I'll take that action. Like, so that's basically what this is. They were very nice to me, but they were like, come on, Greg, this is the epic part of the thing. So, Mike or Zach, any thoughts about this final song of the album?
Yeah, go ahead, Zach. I'll close this.
Yeah, I'll have more to say after it's played, I think, but I think the audience can expect some more Tough Bells in here. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think.
The return of Tough Zach.
Return of Tough Zach for Tough Bells. And yet another amazing, epic Mike guitar solo. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for now.
This is my favorite song on the record. And what's actually interesting is Greg is right. Greg and I think you and I came up with the main music part for the first half. There's 2 halves of the song.
Yep.
And then and actually I like the way that this one came together, but it took a long time to figure out how to make all those pieces work.
Yeah.
The end, though, to me is my favorite part. So the guitar solo here, I will say that this is like probably one of my favorite guitar solos that I've ever recorded. There are actually 2 guitars. You'll hear the first one, and then you hear a second one layered on top of it. 1 take for each one of those. I didn't do a second take on those because it played out exactly the way that I wanted it to. I did do some pre-writing on those. And then just for anybody on production notes who wants to know, for the first guitar solo, it will sound like an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar at the same time. I used a piezo pickup on there. So there are 2 different pickups traveling in 2 different directions on this to give you that feel. And my actual favorite part of this doesn't have anything to do with the guitar solos. It has to do with the end of this, which is the Tough Bells and the ship going away over the horizon. Like, to me, like you can just picture that, and that is my absolute favorite part of it. So I love this song. This to me, I played this one over and over again in the car, and my kids are sick of it, but they're sick of me anyway, so there's not that much. But thank you all for listening. It's been great. This has been a blast to be able to do this.
Really, really enjoyed this a lot. All right, let's listen to the final song, chat. While we're doing that, just a reminder, you can check this out. Shatter Mage, I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you, Shatter. And there is a new album. You can get the physical copy right there at thebandtheroad.com. And if you go to thebandtheroad.bandcamp.com. And if you go to thebandtheroad.com, you will be able to get all of the digital links too. If you have Spotify, if you have YouTube Music, you can buy the album there. Amazon Music, Tidal, all of them, and Apple Music. And again, if I can please make an appeal, if you have enjoyed listening to this today, first of all, if you're able to buy the album, that would be lovely. That definitely supports us. But secondly, most important of all, if you can leave a positive review, tell people about it, spread the word about it. Independent bands desperately need that kind of word of mouth, because sometimes this stuff can just pick up. Like we're going to be taking out an ad as we usually do in the big takeover. I have a connection with Jack Rabbit, who's the publisher, been the publisher of that mag for like 40 years. And I'm going to be sending it along to them. They usually do. They've been very kind to us with reviews of our last couple albums. Hopefully they'll be kind to us again with a review here too. But, we can only, do a couple of like live performances a year, so we can only support to a certain degree until our epic Norwegian tour. But we can only support to a certain degree. And so any support that people can give, it really makes a difference. And it's www.thebandtheroad.com, Wispy. Thebandtheroad.bandcamp.com gets you to the physical, but thebandtheroad.com will bring you to all those links anyway. So you'll be able to get there. All right. Let us play the final song, Exodus.
Drawn within these darkened walls, these silent, sacred, broken halls, and all the flags that flew our fame, and all the voices called our names through the rooms of gold and stone, through the tombs where pale light shone, through the doors of marble wide, I will make my way outside. When fog blows clear, all of it slipping past, when light shines here, towards my green and distant home, past the shores of pain and doubt. I never thought to live without wind above which fills my sail, shining light too bright to fail, proud set forward, swept by sea, like my soul inside of me. When fog blows clear, all of it slipping past, when light shines here, right through the sail on the mast, I found a time, and that time is mine.
You know, and that like the doon doon doo doo, like once again, Michael Bruce, ladies and gentlemen, like absolutely
let's hear it from Michael Santana Bruce.
Jesus,
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely freaking killing it. Like that, and honestly, the end of that, it does sound even better in headphones. Like that, but both between Mike's amazing guitar solo there, and then the marimba just like dun 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 dun, like so good. Oh man, and I'm only saying this not to pat ourselves in the back, chat. It just makes me so happy, given it took us a while to get this together, but man, I'm super happy with how it came out. And yeah, it closes the album on a high note. Very proud of that. And Mike did a wonderful job with mixing it. And you're right, the ship sort of in the distance came out beautifully. But man, like someone get Mike again the guitar awards. Where's Billboard when you need them? Let's go. Like good stuff.
Yeah, Mike, that thing you were talking about with the dual like electric and acoustic, man, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. There are a couple of old classic rock songs where they do that, and usually the way that they do it is they basically they put a microphone in front of like a normal guitar and they record, so you can get all the plectoral sounds, all the plucking sounds of it, and then you run the wire into another room at the other end of the building and they put the microphone in front of it there, so you can't actually hear like the distorted because it's too loud. But again, because everything's done electronically here, I have a Paul Reed Smith guitar that has 2 pickups on it with 2 outputs. So you run one output into one channel and you run the other one through the processor, and then you mix them back together again. But it was one of those things where I was just like, maybe this would sound good. And as soon as I started to mix it, I was like, that perfect. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So, and then as long as we're talking about mixing, I will say for any of those of you who want to, get into mixing and stuff like that, mixing marimbas is really, really hard. It's just a hard instrument, right? I mean, it's like every time you hit, it hits everything from like 20 hertz up to like 10,000.
So complete is the range of my instrument.
Yeah.
Would you call it a tough marimba?
It's a tough marimba, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw your comment about the low range on there. So actually what I did was I split the track. And so for all the stuff in the middle, I cut you off, Zach. So you have a certain sonic space, and it's a lot narrower than where the marimba usually is. But the end where they're sailing over the thing, that's a full-blown thing. There's no equalization on that. That's just there with a really like long-term, reverb or delay system on that one. So yeah, it was nice. A blast to mix that one. I love that song. It's a terrific song, and I think the whole album came out really great. And so yeah, absolutely. Thanks everybody for all the great comments.
Yeah, seriously, this was been really wonderful chat. I'm going to run one final giveaway while I take final comments from these 3, and I guess I'll start with Drew. I'll start with you as the person who contributed the visual emphasis because the album design, but you mentioned as it being an outsider listening to it. So, any thoughts about the album as a whole that you want to mention, since you had to listen to it a lot to actually put together this thing? Any thoughts about that?
So I really like the last album. And I really like the album before that. I don't remember.
Monomyth.
What was the album?
Monomyth, which was...
No, I don't think I heard Monomyth. What was the first album?
Oh, first album was Drift.
Drift. That's the one that I have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was always my favorite album since I was aware of you guys.
Yeah.
I really, really like 5 Years Later. I think I might like this one a little bit more.
Well, listen, we always want to have the last album be the best album, right? Like, I mean, that's the hope, because we like all of it, but yeah.
it's funny because you would think that 5 Years Later would speak to me more, because I do like dark, heavy.
It is music. Heavier, yeah.
Yeah, I like really aggressive, really dark, really heavy music. So you would think I would gravitate towards that one more. But I really like this album sonically is just it's so different and it's so good.
Oh well,
I also think the marimba adds a lot to it.
Yeah,
like it gives it a whole different kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yep, I could not agree more. I feel the same way about Zach's addition to the band has been wonderful. And you really liked 5 Years Later. Is that saying something? You have to listen to the rest. Yeah, Shatter. And again, this stuff is available everywhere. I'm going to do the giveaway, and then I'll hear from Mike and Zach, their last thoughts about the album. So the word for this one, chat, again, this will be the third and final copy that I'm giving away, and it is... what a shock, Exodus. So type in the word Exodus if you would like to win a copy of the album. I've given away 2 so far, and we're giving away one last one. And then, as I say, even if you don't win one, if you can buy one, that would be great. And if you could spread the word and let people know, that would be awesome. So Mike or Zach, whoever wants to go first, please, last thoughts about the album as a whole.
Yeah, I'll go. I think, yeah, well, just about Exodus too. Man, yeah, I think in the same way, Drew, where you were saying Moon Alliance felt like a good blend of all 3 of us, I feel like that one also is in Exodus.
Yeah.
Like the marimba itself being, well, quite literally made of wood, used as a foundation during the ending as Mike riffs on the guitar at the end. Very, very cool. But yeah, no, I'll say just for the album in general, very cool, very proud to have a project like this out there. I'm the kind of person I kid you not, probably 200 plus unfinished GarageBand / Logic projects that I've never finished or released. So I'm the kind of person, I get a new idea and I'm like, ooh, shiny new idea. And then I work on it, and just so I can get it out of my system, and then I never touch it again, or I listen back to it. So to be able to actually not only finish something, but collaborate with these guys on it was great. And yeah, the marimba itself contributing, I this sort of has been a capstone for my marimba expertise, especially up to now, because and leading into COVID, because honestly, COVID was one of the last times that I really, or before COVID, was one of the last times that I really got to play marimba quite often, through teaching and through performing in local symphonic bands and things like that. But then when COVID hit, I have a mallet cap, which is essentially a MIDI marimba, which some of the original solos in this album I recorded on. That MIDI instrument broke down on me a couple years ago, and I still haven't gotten it fixed because it's going to be terrible to mail because it's like 7 feet long. So I just have never sent it out to get fixed. But so that being said, this is some of the most recent and finest like marimba work that I've done, which itself obviously is sort of a niche instrument as far as stereotypical instruments go, and that just has to do with my personal history with percussion and all that stuff. So very exciting for me to add this unique instrument that's very near and dear to me to the album, and get to sing and get to do some synth stuff and doubling guitars and the orchestra parts. So yeah, just an awesome, fun experience. And I'm excited to play it on my own channel. I'll be looking forward. Part of me kind of hopes when I play it on my own channel that, I wonder if Twitch will be like, hey, this music is copyrighted by The Road. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's me, but yeah, this is our song. And I'll probably show some of the behind the scenes of my tracks on the album on my stream as well. Echoes mentioned listening to instrumental versions, so yeah, I'll be playing Symmetry and Moon Alliance and Rain. I can show you guys the tracks for those and a bit more detail about how I put them together. But yeah, that's it for me. And Drew, amazing job with the album. It's always like hearing the story of how the album cover was made just makes it that much better. And I really like it. And
Well,
yeah,
thank you.
very exciting.
Also, I really like the idea of you being like what's the guy from Dragon Force when he plays Through the Fire and Flames on the guitar, the guy that actually from the band, and Twitch mutes him. It's like, no,
Yeah.
dude, it's my song. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, exciting. Glad that we did it. And I guess Mike, let's hear from you, your final thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have too much more to add than, perhaps I've already said, but this was a blast. I mean, it was a strange time, I think, for all of us to be sort of locked away and not be able to play like out live with people or even go to shows in some cases, unless you wanted to go like sit in a car alone, like they did up in New Hampshire for a couple of these concerts and stuff like that. So to be able to, actually make music and to compose it was great. Zach, I agree with you. The other thing, I mean, it's easy to make fun of Greg because all he did was, sing and play the trumpet and write the words and stuff like that, but you didn't do all the other stuff. But the reality is that the one thing that Greg did was he kept us moving. He kept us moving.
Yeah.
It's funny because I sit at this desk. This is a desk that I work from. And I have all these sheets of paper, and I write, like, each time we would have a rehearsal, I'd write down, okay, these are the things I have to do for next time. And I have, a whole folder of these that go back, 2 years. And that was really what led us to be able to do this. But, it was great to be able to play. I mean, I think the marimbas were it was something totally different that I'd never even thought of before. And every time you do something new, and you change what it is you do, I think it opens up a creative outlet. I mean, a little bit like the Robert Fripp tuning, you can write something like what Zach did if you change the tuning of the guitar. If you leave the guitar exactly as it is, it's going to sound like a guitar. And so stepping out of comfort zones and trying something new, even if you don't know where it's going to lead, I've always enjoyed doing that. There's always like a little bit scary at the front or a little weird, but in the end, I think that this really came out in a great spot. So Greg, thanks for pushing us along. Zach, thanks for the amazing tips and tons of patience for the rest of us. And and thanks to you, Drew. I think the artwork looks incredible on the outside of the record. And I have no visual talents. I am allowed to paint, but not to choose colors in this house. And that's for a good reason. But I always appreciate, I always know when I look at something like that's really, really great art. And so that it's terrific stuff there. So thank you. And thanks to everybody online for all the terrific commentary and for sticking sticking in here and really obviously paying attention and listening to this. It's great to have people, really sit down and like listen to something like this deeply, because I think we don't do that enough with music anymore these days. So thank you very much, everybody.
I agree. And, ditto on all of that. Yeah, my apologies. I was like, where the hell is the page that has this? I have to update the website with it. If you go to theroad.hearenow.com/Exodus, I just put that link, that will bring you to where you can get all the digital stuff, not just the stuff on the album, but it will also link you to Spotify, Amazon Music. You could also just do it by just searching in those things if you have Amazon Music or YouTube Music, whatever. But if you go to hearenow.com, we have this for 5 years later as well. You'll be able to see the digital there. Part of this is because CD Baby decided to get out of the business of actually selling CDs. It's a very long story and it's irritating. But anyway, so bandcamp.com for physical. You can go to that hearenow.com, and I will update our website to reflect those as well. There's a lot of things I had to update already, so I will get there. Okay, so finish up with the giveaway, chat, and I am going to, just before I let these guys go, I will just say, again, I couldn't agree more about the art. Again, thank you, Drew. Amazing work on this. I think it came out beautifully. It really reflected thematically what we were looking to do, and that was nice to get an artist's sensibility, who is also someone who understands and loves music, and so that was really great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys keep thanking me for the visuals. I want to thank you guys for putting on an amazing, sonically fascinating album.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that. And I also want to say, thank you to Mike, for having been here for 10 years and for really being a steady presence, Mike. I really do appreciate it. And, the guitar work has just been spectacular in addition to all the mixing and all the other stuff, but the guitar has just really, really been great. So thank you for that. And Zach, again, as everyone has said, the addition of the tough bells made it, the marimba has been extraordinary. The synth has been extraordinary, and the sensibility of the music with Mike and myself, I think, really came together beautifully. So thank you, because this band is very important to me, and I think to the people that hear it, because it's trying to, like I do with everything else, bring people together in another form of community, and music does that, communicates in a way that, even as much as I love writing, there are certain dimensions that music can reach that writing can't, and so it was an honor to be able to be a part of this album, and I look forward to us being able to do hopefully some more stuff down the line, live and perhaps album work that we're able to do. So it was a labor of love and a commitment, but we got it done. So chat, can we get some love? And then I will run this giveaway with them off stream, but can we get some love for Michael Bruce, for Drew Zion, artist extraordinaire, and for Zach Clay? Gentlemen, great work from everybody, and I will see you folks down the line.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Everybody.
So, wow, what a really, really, really great release that was. Thank you, everybody. That was really special. I expected that it would be, I hoped that it would be great, and it would be a lot of fun, but great comments and just a really good vibe and really good mood. So thank you, everybody. That was really lovely. Okay, so let us do this final giveaway, and then I'm going to transition. I'm going to play something for a couple of hours. I'm not done yet streaming, but I'm going to finish up with the album release here. So let me do one last giveaway, though. So we're going to get rid of that, and then we'll just leave the slideshow. Reflect the blue color. Thank you. So we should reflect the blue color of the album. Yeah, I know. I probably should consider. I wanted this sort of general white because I knew that it was going to be, the feel would be different throughout, and this is the most neutral kind of lighting system that I have. So, okay, so Exodus, let's finish up, chat. Finish up. Last chance. I'm going to last call this right here. Last call. If you wish to enter a copy of, if you wish to win a copy of Exodus, last call. Please type in Exodus if you would like to win a copy of this album, Exodus. And again, I will send this to you, but you can get this at bandtheroad.bandcamp.com physically. You can get it digitally by going to bandtheroad.com or by going to theroad.hearenow.com/Exodus. We also have The Road, which has 5 years later up there as well. and we have links to that too. So we have a lot of different stuff that you can get there. I have both 5 Years Later and Exodus on here now, and then the other digitals are available through Amazon Music and the other sort of places. So, yeah, well, that may be a propagation thing, Ballsteak, because it just released today, because I knew today was the release, and CD Baby is very hardcore about we don't put this stuff out there until the actual date. So I think that may be part of why that's happening. It may take a little while to propagate. The other thing is, and this is just something which is just nothing we can do about this, there are a couple of other The Road bands, and I've been trying to spend some time in my copious free time, trying to get some of those disassociated with other bands that are not us. So Spotify does weird stuff about where we are, but if you type in The Road and the name of the album, we have 4: Drift, Monomyth, 5 Years Later, and Exodus. Or if you type in The Road and Greg Wilson or whatever, or again, if you go through Bandcamp, any of those ways will get you eventually to the link. And that's a big part of this. So, okay, here we go. Final giveaway of this stuff is away-stop. And the winner is Triffity Mats. Yay! The winner is Triffity Mats. So Chrono Travis, Echo Alpha X5, and Triffity Mats has won the final Exodus album, and well deserved, all of these people. And please do spread the word, chat. If you liked what you heard today, please do spread the word. I really am proud of this album. You know, I've never had a scenario where I moved down to New York quite a while. I think all of our albums came out after I already moved down to New York. So we played in both Boston and New York, and New Hampshire and other areas in the New York area. But we never actually, we did a lot of rehearsing up in Boston. So I used to drive up and come back, like all the time. And I have not obviously been doing that for some years now. But this was the first time that we were able to basically record and write all of this remotely with Zach and Callie and Mike in Massachusetts and myself in New York and then Connecticut. And most of this was done in Connecticut with me here. So I was very, very glad to be able to do this. So now we have 4 albums, and Exodus can sit proudly among those albums. And I'm proud also thematically of what this is doing. Very happy, very warm feelings tonight, chat. It was walking around Porch Fest today. By the way, Echo, your answer to your question is next August is the next Porch Fest, but we will be playing live together before that. But I had a little bit of a bittersweet feeling. It was a very nice day. I heard some good bands. It was a good time hanging out with the family. But I felt a little bit bittersweet because my porch wasn't getting used and we weren't playing, and I felt a little bad about that. As I say, there was nothing we could do to avoid it. It had to do with stuff going on with band members that we couldn't all get together to do this. But we are going to be getting together to do a couple of live performances in 2024. So fear not, you are going to get live productions from us. Tonight has really been really inspiring and affirming for me. It was really nice to have everyone really listening, chatting, commenting in the best way of the Arvanauts. So thank you all so much. It really is lovely. And it makes such a big difference to be able to do that. So the band today is me, Zach, and Mike. Those are the 3 band members. I would say that we have a band member that's kind of on hiatus. I can't really discuss that in more detail. But one of those band members is like that. And then, as I say, for live stuff, we may have, so to speak, session musicians, except they'd be live musicians coming in as a part of this. But again, I will talk more about that as we go through. But we've come a long way since 1998, basically, when I started playing with a band which was called, after my old apartment, 3607. It's a terrible band name. We played a couple of shows, including a couple of shows in Northampton and on the Brandeis campus, and then the band sort of disbanded, if you will, and then came back together around 2003 and reformed as The Road. That was myself and Aaron Moulin, and then the initial lineup there was Brad Maines and Todd Whitecross and Jeff Wilson, my brother Jeff, actually. And then we went through many musician changes, which I don't have time to go through now, before we ended up where we did. So, so Drift, Monomyth, 5 years later, and now Exodus. And I'm going to send this out. If anyone has ideas, by the way, of places for me to send this for reviews, I remember that too, Shatter. You were big on those. You used to play it on your stream, actually, so I always appreciated that. But if anyone has places for me to send this to, I mean, I'm going to send this to the Big Takeover because they always are very kind to us. I'm going to send this to a few prog places that I know. We actually, Monomyth got nominated for the 2010 Prog Awards, which is an international prog award. That was pretty cool. But that would be exciting. If anyone has knowledge of, hey, you should check this out and send this to them, please let me know, because I'd be happy to send copies of these out. We had a smaller print run this time, but we can increase that if we can increase that amount if we get some more, if we get people buying the physical up. So we are happy to do a second printing if that becomes the case. And I still have print copies of all the other albums as well. Is it stream friendly? So here's the thing about that. It is stream friendly in terms of live production on Twitch. I will say that if you put up anything on YouTube, this is kind of funny. Generally what will happen is that the songs will sometimes get, if I play a song from my band, my own album like manager, which is CD Baby, will not a copy. It's never a copyright strike. You're not going to get in trouble where you get some permanent thing, but they will share revenue based upon the algorithmic hit on YouTube. So basically they're like, listen, you're playing this song, so we need to share this with your band. Checks notes. Like, just the free, just like, okay, dude. All right. The world of robots. I really appreciate this. So it's very funny that my band monetizes money that would otherwise go to me directly with the channel. But separate from that, it is stream friendly. I have never in 12 years of streaming ever gotten a hit on Twitch for any kind of copyright violation, because I own the copyright. This is copyrighted, all of us. We own the copyright on all this music, and my name is on every single song. And we've written, oh geez, it's got to be almost 40 songs that are actually on albums now with this album, with 8 songs from this album. So all of that has my name on it. So yeah, like there's no issue with that, at all. So yeah. So again, thank you everybody. I'm going to try to add these commands. I would ask if one of the mods is able to add the Bandcamp to the Arv band command, which is, oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Which is, Bandcamp, which is, should be just, hold on a second. Let me get the, there we go. This right here. Yeah, no, it doesn't need to happen now, Triffid. I'm just putting it out there for a mod later on. I can even do it later if I have to. But it's the bandtheroad.bandcamp.com. That is where you can get the physical copies of this. And as I say, I will also be putting these other things. So they even have like streaming and downloading help and stuff like that. And you can sort of, again, I don't have the digital stuff up on Bandcamp, and the reason is that CD Baby still handles all the digital distribution of our stuff, and frankly, it would be kind of it was done at the start of the stream. Oh, thank you. Never mind. Hillness already did it. Thank you, Hillness. You are my hero. You are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you. So it would be a huge. Oh, you didn't do it? Oh, somebody did it. I know that Echo brought it up, but I don't know. It was Drew. Oh, Drew did it. Okay. Drew certainly would know. Okay. Well, then thanks to Drew. But what was I going to say? It would just be a huge pain in the ass for me to get all of the digital stuff off of CD Baby and then all route it through Bandcamp, which is frankly why it's annoying that CD Baby isn't doing physical anymore, because at that point, there are a lot of other people that can also do digital distribution. And so a lot of artists are doing what we're doing, which is digital is distributed through CD Baby and physical is distributed through Bandcamp. Well, somebody did it. Yeah, it came out really well, Drew. It came out really well. Whoever did it, thank you. Whoever that was, thank you to whoever it was. But yeah, thank you everybody. As I say, I'll update that other stuff as I can. But very excited to be able to have this. And well, if you Fun fact, Optic, if you order through the Bandcamp page, if you were to order through the Bandcamp page, I will get that order and then I will be fulfilling it. So I would be the one shipping it out, actually. And so if you send that, I would be the one doing it. And if you make sure in some note or whatever, this is me, then I would be happy, and write the name that you want me to put it to and all that kind of good stuff. Yes. So here's the thing, Echo. I will autograph it, but I cannot autograph. I can't have everybody else autograph it unless, I guess what I could do actually, maybe I'll do this. What I could maybe do is I could maybe autograph my copy and then send it to Zach or send it to Mike maybe, have Mike autograph it, have Mike send it to Zach, and then have Zach maybe ship it to the final destinations. Maybe I'll do that. I'm going to make a note to myself. I could probably do that. And then I would just need to make sure that we cover the cost of sending this off to Norway, which will be a little bit of extra shipping, but it's no big deal because it's just a CD. So that's not as big a deal, in terms of cost and everything else to do that. So plus, the Norwegians are kind and generous people. So I'm sure it'll be no problem. So, yeah. So there we go with that. Right, there's that. Okay, great. So yeah, so I'm going to go over to Creator Dashboard. So I'm going to switch gears, but I'm going to finish, and then I'm going to change the stream title and stuff like that. So I'm going to finish this stream, and I'm going to thank everybody for having been a part of this amazing release party. I'm going to play some games now, actually, because I also want to talk to you all. I have new emotes to talk about. So if you're interested in the channel, don't leave yet, because I'm going to be talking about a whole new set of emotes for all of you lovely folks. And then I'm going to be playing a little bit of Styx, Master of Shadows after that. But for those of you who came or watching the video for the release, thank you so much for being supportive of the road over the years. It's very affirming and inspiring to me. We are going to be doing some live performances over the next year and a half or so. So you will hear more from us, and I'm just so grateful to all of you. It really makes a difference. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all the fans over the years. Thank you to all the musicians who have been a part of this, and special thanks, of course, to Drew Zion for the amazing art, and a special thanks to the two musicians who made this possible along with me, Michael Bruce and Zach Clay. There is the road. Okay, I'm going to stop recording, and then I'm going to restart.